this example. Shall I proceed? Have you noted it? Now,
wait.
जल्दी करिए sir, please. Next. Now, mic band karo please. Risk weight mapping of long-term ratings. Now, please understand what is this mapping. Now, many RBI says that RBI has basically mapped some risk weights. RBI says if you have given any particular borrower a rating of AAA, the risk will be considered as 20%. That means suppose Madam Deepti is a AAA rated borrower and I give her 1 crore as loan. So the risk will be considered as 20%, that is 20 lakh. Is that clear? If it is a AA borrower, then 30%. A borrower, 50%. Triple B borrower, 100%. Double B and below, 150%. And if it is a unrated, 100%. In India, corporate advances are unrated. So that is why we take 100% risk for any corporate advance. If you see this corporate advance, I took 100%. Okay. Now what is this? What is this mapping process? I'll do it with an example. Suppose
सर
you, हाँ जी,
सर कॉर्पोरेट की जो रेटिंग्स एक्सटर्नल रहती हैं कंसीडर नहीं करते हैं सर.
हाँ जी
कॉर्पोरेट तो एक्सटर्नली रेटेड रहते हैं सर.
सर ये ना पुराना अभी तक अपडेट नहीं किया, तो आप इसको ऐसे लेके चलोगे अभी. तो जब नई मैक में नई
मैं कह रहा हूँ सर कॉर्पोरेट्स तो रेटेड रहते हैं तो उनको अनरेटेड ही काउंट करते हैं.
मैं वही कह रहा हूँ ना सर, मैकमिलन ने यही देखा हुआ है, तो ये मैकमिलन के अकॉर्डिंग ऐसे ही चलो अभी। दिस इज एज पर मैकमिलन। ओके, नो नो सर, पेपर में अनलेस अंटिल इफ द रेटिंग इज गिवन देन यू विल टेक दीज, if the rating is not given under corporates, simply go for 100% risk. So let us say this is an example of home loans. You have given 100 crore to triple A, 100 to double A, 100 to A, 100 to triple B, 100 to double B, and below 100 to unrated. Just an example. This is an example so that you understand this mapping process. Now, these are your asset values. These are your assets. We now multiply them with the risk weights. So these are the risk weights from our mapping. So when I multiply the assets with risk weights, this is the risk weighted asset. Total is 450. That means out of total of 600 crores, the risky asset is 450 crores. Is that clear? So how much is the capital charge? 9% of 450. 40.5 crore should be the minimum capital. Is that clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can note it down, please.
सर ये मिनिमम कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट जो 40.5 करोड़ है, सर ये क्या उसकी पेइंग कैपेसिटी की बात की जा रही है?
बैंक की कैपिटल सर, बैंक को कितनी कैपिटल रखनी है?
रखनी चाहिए मतलब?
हाँ, मिनिमम रखनी है। हाँ जी। Yes, Madam Priya, for this mapping process, you have to remember this chart of mapping. The AAA is mapped at 20%, AA 30, A 50, triple B 100, double B and below 150, unrated 100. Hanji, shall we proceed? Now, you understood the mapping process.
सर एक मिनट पीछे वाला स्लाइड करिएगा सर, एक सेकंड।
सर जल्दी लिखा करिए सर, प्लीज जल्दी किया करिए। इसको स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो, बाद में नोट करना।
ओके सर, हो गया।
Now, treatment for off-balance sheet exposures. Now, please look here, everyone. In a normal case, we simply multiply the asset value with the risk weight. To a AAA customer, I gave a 100 crore home loan multiplied by 20%. This is my risk-weighted asset. But what to do if this asset is a off-balance sheet exposure? फिर क्या करेंगे? So RBI says, in case of off-balance sheet exposure, whatever is the face amount of the off-balance sheet item, it will be multiplied by a credit conversion factor. This credit conversion factor is given by RBI. You don't have to do anything. And then it will be multiplied by the risk weight, whatever is the risk weight. So you note down this question, this comes. Then, what is a net funded exposure? What is a net funded exposure? So let us say you have given a loan of 100 crores. Let us suppose. Out of this 100 crores, the borrower has provided you with a collateral of, let us say, 40 crores. In his current account, there is a credit balance of 5 crores. So basically, 100 you have given, 40 is with you, 5 is with you. Any subsidies that are received by government, 5 crores, let us say. This is also with you. These are subsidies that are received by the bank pending adjustments. Any claim received, let us say 5 crores. Any provisions made, let us say 5 crores. So what is your net funded exposure? So your net funded exposure will be 60. Is that clear? Write this formula because in the book it is written in a theoretical manner. तो वो बहुत लंबा हो जाता है, वो आपको याद नहीं होता. So if you note down this way, you will never make a mistake.
सर
बोलो जी.
सर ये वेटेड एसेट का जो ये फॉर्मूला है, फेस अमाउंट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट आइटम इनटू क्रेडिट कन्वर्जन फैक्टर इनटू रिस्क वेट,
हाँ जी.
इसका इसमें क्या यूज हुआ सर? इसमें तो कुछ अभी यूज नहीं हुआ.
किसमें सर?
जो अभी ऊपर में सर वो मार्क किया ना, फेस अमाउंट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट आइटम.
सर ये अलग चीज है सर. This is a separate thing. This is a separate thing. ये आपस में इनका कोई लिंक नहीं है. ये अलग है और ये अलग है. हाँ जी. Shall we proceed? Next.
सर ये जो भी लिखा है उसको एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे, मतलब क्या लिखा है, जैसे मतलब समझ नहीं आ रहा.
मतलब मैं अभी तो मैंने बोला मैम सारी चीज, एक एक चीज.
सर
कौन सी चीज?
वर्ड्स.
हाँ जी.
सर सर जैसे क्रेडिट बैलेंस इन करंट क्या
हाँ,
लिखा है ये?
दो मिनट रुकिए. Now इधर first let us read this page. The scope of application of external ratings for the bank. Banks should use chosen credit rating agencies and their ratings for each type of claim for both the risk weighting and risk management purposes. Banks are not to be allowed to cherry pick the assessments provided by different credit rating agencies. ये iPad कौन है यार? I cannot identify you. I'm giving you only 1 minute. Rename yourself with your registration ID, else you will be removed from the class. I've sent you a message. I've sent you a message. What is your name? iPad.
Page number.
Mr. iPad, talk to me. Rename yourself with the registration ID. Now, this is page number 30. Banks cannot cherry pick. What is the meaning of cherry pick? Suppose your bank decides that for all the retail advances, banks will use the ratings of ICRA or CRISIL, let us say CRISIL. Then for all the retail advances, you have to stick to only CRISIL. You cannot do that half के लिए आपने CRISIL use कर लिया, half के लिए आपने you use CARE, half के लिए ICRA, half के लिए Moody's. No. For one type of claim, you will decide and use only one credit rating agency. Is that clear? If the bank has decided to use ratings of some of the chosen credit rating agency for a given type of claim, it can use only the ratings of those agencies, despite the fact that some of these claims may be rated by some other agencies also. Then the rating agency should have reviewed the rating at least once during the last 15 months. See, the financial position of the company can change very fast. So you cannot use some 10 or 20-year-old ratings. These ratings have to be updated regularly, and you have to make sure that the rating that you're using has been updated in last 15 months. For the assets in bank portfolio, which have a contractual maturity less than or equal to 1 year, short-term ratings are used. And for assets where the contractual maturity is more than 1 year, long-term ratings are used. This is the mapping process diagram which you have already done. You have already noted, you have already done an example. Now, here, write down, at this point, write down, continue on page, I'll tell you which page. Continue on page 43. So on page number 43, we will start with the capital charge calculations. Open page number 43. On page number 43, first is capital charge for credit risk. If you see this line, this you have already noted, Basel II has recommended two approaches for arriving capital charge for credit risk purposes. First is standardized approach. Second is internal rating based approach. Now first let us see what is the standardized approach. In standardized approach, okay, these are the risk weights that have been provided by the RBI. So some of the important that you have to remember are, I'll tell you. ये एक तो ये देखो, cash balance on balance sheet, there is zero risk. Then claims which are guaranteed by state government, that is 20% risk. Claims that have been guaranteed by ECGC, again 20% risk. Any claim which is guaranteed by central government, there is no risk. State government 20%, ECGC 20%. Claims on RBI or DICGC or CGTMSE, there is no risk, 0. Then claims which have been secured by commercial real estate, 100% risk. Very important. Achha, the moment you see the word retail, risk is 75%. Claims included in regulatory retail portfolio, 75%. Education loans, again 75%. Then, ये देखो, education loan is 75%. All other which are included in regulatory return, it is again 75%. Venture capital funds, these are the funds which give money to these startups. They are very risky. So 150% risk. Credit card exposures, capital market exposures, 125% risk. Consumer finance, 100% risk. Loans and advances which are given to the staff, which are covered by way of mortgage or your retirement benefits, they're 20% risky. Other staff loans, 75% risky. Okay. Then this LTV ratio chart, this is very, very important. What is this LTV ratio? Loan to value ratio. That means if you, अच्छा अब ना there are, I'll give you, tell you, मैं आपको बताता हूँ, पहले तो इस चार्ट को याद करो. Now, if you have given a loan, housing loan, these are only for housing loans. If you have given a housing loan which is up to 30 lakh, where LTV ratio is less than or equal to 80%, that means 80% financing, loan divided by value into 100. LTV का मतलब होता है, if the value of house is 1 crore, you have given 80 lakhs as loan, that means LTV ratio is 80%. For a loan up to 30 lakh, if the LTV ratio is equals to 80 or less than 80, the risk will be taken at 35%. And if you have given a loan of more than 80% up to 90%, then 50% risk. If the loan amount is above 30 lakh and up to 75 lakhs, okay, LTV ratio is 80%, maximum allowed is less than or equal to 80%, risk is 35%. And if the amount of loan is 75 lakhs, above 75 lakhs, LTV ratio allowed is 75%, up to, risk is 50%. You have to remember, you have to learn this chart.
सर ये दोबारा बता दो एलटीवी रेशियो नहीं समझ नहीं आया सर ये
क्या बोल रहे हो सर?
सर ये एलटीवी रेशियो दोबारा बता दो पता ही नहीं लगा इसका क्या है.
ध्यान से सुनो सर, आपको मैंने 30 लाख रुपए का लोन दिया, हाउसिंग लोन, तो पहले बताओ ये वाला केस है, ये वाला कि ये वाला है, बोलो कौन सा केस है?
ये फर्स्ट वाला है.
फर्स्ट वाला.
हाँ जी.
30 लाख रुपए का हाउसिंग लोन है, जिसमें से मैंने आपको फाइनेंसिंग कर दी 24 लाख की, ठीक है, या चलो सिंपल लगा लो जिसमें एलटीवी रेशियो 80% है, ठीक है, यानी मैंने 100 के पीछे आपको सिर्फ 80 रुपए दिए, तो आपका रिस्क कितना कंसिडर किया जाएगा? 35%। समझ आ गया?
ठीक है।
बस नाउ
सर ये 80 and less than 90.
सर अगर एलटीवी 80 से ज्यादा है और 90 तक है तो 50% रिस्क मानेंगे, अगर 80 या 80 से कम है तो 35% मानेंगे। Now this chart you have to remember because sometimes
सर एक
he
मिनट,
give
वो लोन टू वैल्यू का 35% मानेंगे, जो लोन अमाउंट रहेगा उसका मानेंगे।
लोन अमाउंट का सर। Now इसको ये एक एग्जांपल देखिए, सपोज a housing loan is given for 24 lakhs with 80% LTV ratio. First question, what is the risk weight? What is the RWA? What is the capital charge? You can get this question in 2 or 3 marks. Now the chart is in front of you. The housing loan is less than 30 up to 30 lakhs. LTV ratio is 80%. So पहली बात तो बताओ what will be the risk weight? As per RBI, loan up to 30 lakh, LTV less than 80%, the risk weight is 35%. ये होगा आपका पहला। माइक बंद करो सर प्लीज। गुरप्रीत लाल माइक बंद कर यार। Next. So your risk weight is 35%. Now second question is calculate the RWA. What is RWA? RWA is always risk weight into your asset value. So in this case, what is your asset value? 24 lakhs. What is your risk weight? 35%. So RWA is 8,40,000. That means out of 24 lakh loan, the risky portion is considered to be 8,40,000. Okay. Now next, what is the minimum capital required? Capital charge. Capital charge, we always know that it is 9% of your RWA. So 9% of 8,40,000. एक मिनट यार। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੋ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ just give me 2 minutes please Hanji. So is this question okay? Okay. Have you noted this question, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, please,
Sir,
sir, 2 minutes रुकिए, 2 मिनट रुक जाइए, sir, please. Now, you have to be careful with one thing. In this LTVs, एक मिनट रुको, इसमें ना एक टेम्परेरी चेंज आई थी. So let me. See, this chart is okay as it is. Okay. And you will go with this, you will stay with this chart only. There was a change, but that change was made only temporary for a very कुछ मार्च 2022 तक के लोन्स के लिए चेंज था, बट दैट पीरियड इज नाउ ओवर. हाँ जी बोलो सर.
16 अक्टूबर 20 से 31 मार्च 22 तक था वो.
हाँ वो दैट इज देयर वाज उन्होंने मुझे मालूम है सर. उसमें उन्होंने उसमें मैंने आपको करवाया भी था पिछली बार. वो पिछले कैप्सूल में दिया हुआ था, वो कैप्सूल वापस अपडेट हो गया. वी हैव रिमूव्ड दैट थिंग. तो उसमें सिर्फ दो चीजें होती थी. उसमें हम एलटीवी लेते नहीं थे, उसमें हम सिंपली ले लेते थे इफ द लोन अमाउंट इज वो था कि सिंपल था. हाँ उसमें अमाउंट नहीं था. क्या बोल रहे हो?
अपडेटेड कैप्सूल नहीं मिला सर.
सर अभी प्रिंट हुआ, अभी प्रिंट भी नहीं हुआ मेरे पास, मेरी सॉफ्ट कॉपी है.
अच्छा ठीक है सर.
वो पहले इन्होंने बीच में फॉर टेम्परेरली फॉर 2 years इन्होंने चेंज किया था कि इंस्टेड ऑफ दे डिड नॉट टेक द अमाउंट, उन्होंने सिंपल एलटीवी के साथ ले लिया था. इफ द एलटीवी इज अप टू दिस लिमिट एंड दिस इज द रिस्क, इफ अबव दिस लिमिट दिस इज द रिस्क. But that period is again over. That temporary period is again over. So you will only and only stick to this part, this chart only. So whatever is written in your kit is okay. So
is
you
it
just
updated, sir?
क्या बोल रहे हो सर?
Is it updated? अपडेट है क्या
सर? यही याद रखना है आपको. वो पिछला टेम्परेरीली आया था 1.5 साल के लिए, वो टाइम खत्म हो गया.
कैप्सूल का वेट करना है सर. कैप्सूल भी आएगा क्या?
क्या बोल रहे हो सर? क्या कह रहे हो? दोबारा बोलो सर.
सर मैं ये कह रहा था कैप्सूल आएगा क्या सर?
नहीं सर, आपको कोई कैप्सूल अभी नहीं आएगा।
अच्छा ठीक है सर, खुद ही
आपको ये वाला चार्ट याद रखना। ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट। So did you understand this concept of risk weights and LTV ratio? Now this question has come, so that's why I've given you this kind of a question. Now niche off balance sheet exposures. This already I have told you in the PPT. The credit risk exposure will first be multiplied. How will you calculate the credit risk exposure? The face amount of each off balance sheet item will be multiplied by the prescribed credit conversion factor. This is given by RBI. You cannot remember that because these are big charts. So if, and then it will be multiplied by the risk weights. So suppose in the paper he asks you theory, so it is very simple in front of you. Risk weight is equal to face amount multiplied by credit conversion factor multiplied by risk weights. Suppose he gives you the data that face amount of off-balance sheet item is this much, credit conversion factor is this much, risk weight is this much, calculate RWA, you simply multiply it. All right. Then next, while calculating the aggregate of funded and non-funded exposures for the purpose of alignment of risk weights, bank have to net off against the total outstanding exposure. What all you have to net off? ये देखिए, any advance collateralized by cash margin or deposits. Yeah, I'm doing this thing now. Whatever is your exposure minus your margin collateral, credit balance in current account, subsidies received, claims received, provisions made. See this. So any exposure minus your any advances which are collateralized by cash margin or deposits, any credit balance in current account which is free from lien, free from any lien, in respect to any assets where provisions for depreciation or bad debts have already been made, where you have already made an NPA provision, then any claim that is received by DICGC or ECGC, then any subsidy that you have received against advances from the government in case of government sponsored accounts schemes. Now all these things ये याद रखनी होती है आपको, because most of the people cannot remember all this theory. I made you write it down in this formula. So what is the net funded exposure? It is whatever loan you give exposure minus if you have taken any margin or collateral, if there is any credit balance in current account, if you have received any subsidies from the government or any claim from the government, or if you have made any provision. Is that clear? Yes or no? Now a small example is like this.
Yes sir.
Bank has given 100 crore in retail advances which are secured by collateral of 80 crores. What is the RWA? What is the capital? हाँ जी sir.
सर ये नेट ऑफ और ये नेट फंडेड एक्सपोजर ये दोनों एक ही है ना?
क्या
आपने अभी बताया नेट ऑफ?
हाँ सर, नेटिंग ये सर यही है। अब इसको देखो, माइक बंद करिए सर। बैंक हैज गिवन 100 करोड़ in retail advances. Against these 100 crores, you have taken a collateral of 80 crores. First question is, what is RWA? What is the capital charge? Now, whenever you have to calculate the RWA, now what is the formula of RWA? The formula of RWA is risk weight multiplied by the asset is equal to RWA. Okay. Now this asset will be your basically this asset value will be your net funded exposure. Because 100 crore we have given to Raghubir ji, out of which 80 crore is his collateral or maybe FDR. So actually मेरा risk कितना है? मेरा risk is only 20 crores.
20 crore.
ठीक है सर, माइक बंद करिए सर प्लीज. Now 20 crore is my risk, but RBI says that whenever you give retail advances, the risk is not 100%. The risk is only 75%. So actually my risk is 75% of this 20. So this is my exposed portion. I have given 100 crore to him, and against this 100 crore there might be a collateral of 80 crores, maybe in a form of an FDR. Let us say loan against FDR है, let us suppose. ठीक है ना? तो this 80 crore is not my risk यार. My exposure is only this 20 crores. On this 20 crore also कोई ये थोड़ा है कि 100% सारे मर जाते हैं. ठीक है? So on this 20 crore only 75% is risky. That means what is my risky asset? My risky asset is 15 crores. And on this 15 crore, I will keep 9% minimum capital, that is 1.35 crore. This is my capital charge. Is that clear? Please note it down.
हाँ सर, ये 75% रिस्क वेट कहाँ से आया है सर?
आपने क्लास कब ज्वाइन की सर? पहले तो ये बताओ मुझे. अभी ज्वाइन किए?
नहीं सर.
ये देखो सर, मैंने स्पेशली बताया था कि जैसे आपको रिटेल वर्ड नजर आए,
यस सर,
रिस्क वेट इज 75%. याद आया?
यस सर, यस सर.
Please note it down.
इसमें सर रिस्क वेट वही लर्न करने सर, याद रखने जो आपने हाईलाइट किए हैं बस.
हाँ जी सर. सर मेनी टाइम्स इन द पेपर रिस्क वेट्स आर गिवन, बट जो मैंने हाईलाइट कराए हैं दीज आर द मोस्ट कॉमन रिस्क वेट्स. हो सकता है they don't give, mostly they don't give these risk weights because they expect you to remember these risk weights.
Okay.
Just type done once you have noted this question.
कैपिटल चार्ज में 9% कहाँ से आया है?
1% at a time, please.
कैपिटल चार्ज सर 9%.
हाँ जी, क्या चीज?
फॉर्मूला सर 9%.
9% सर कैपिटल चार्ज में.
क्या आप ये पूछ रहे हो? दिस थिंग ये पूछ रहे हो आप?
हाँ सर.
आपने क्लास कब ज्वाइन की सर?
सर 1 महीना हो गया सर लगभग.
कल मैंने कल भी यही चीज करवाई थी कि अगर आप बैंक 100 रुपए का रिस्क लेता है तो कितनी कैपिटल रखता है. मैंने कल भी करवाया था, मैंने परसों भी करवाया था, मैंने आज भी करवाया
सर 9% वाला. ठीक.
कैपिटल एडिक्वेसी रेशियो नहीं किया था सर कि अगर आप 100 रुपए का रिस्क ले रहे हो तो 9 रुपए की कैपिटल रखनी पड़ेगी हर समय.
हाँ सर, हाँ किया था.
और आज मैंने ये भी तो बताया था आपको, अगर आप ये देखो ये भी बताया था कि ये आपका आरडब्ल्यू का 9% गैप कैपिटल चार्ज होता है. फिर मैंने इसका आपको एक एग्जांपल भी करवाया था. ये देखो ये भी करवाया था कि अगर आप रिस्क 100 रुपए का ले रहे हो तो उसका 9%, 9 करोड़ आपका RWA। याद आया कि नहीं आया? सर इसीलिए मैं बोलता हूं इसकी रिवीजन साथ साथ करिए। I only and only expect 15 minutes revision from you. आप अगर क्लास के बाद सिर्फ 15 मिनट रिवाइज कर ले, सिर्फ 15 मिनट, आपको बहुत हो जाएगा। बट अगर आप रिवाइज नहीं करोगे, अभी आप ये सोच लीजिए कि जस्ट इमेजिन वन थिंग, there are 4 modules in BFM. Out of these 4 modules, I have only done half module, no, 1/3 of module D, and module B अभी तक 15% भी नहीं हुआ। ठीक है? Now you just imagine how much material you have to remember only and only in module B. फिर उसको 4 times कर लेना या 3 times कर लेना इन BFM, फिर उसमें ABM भी जोड़ देना, फिर उसमें रिटेल भी जोड़ देना। So please don't take CIB lightly. इसे मजाक में, don't take it as a joke. हाँ जी, yes ma'am, you were saying something.
This risk weights provided by RBI, this full table you have to buy that.
Which table?
So this percentages is there, no?
I told you, ma'am, I've already repeated that the ones which I have highlighted, you have to remember.
Only highlighted?
Yeah, only the highlighted portion. 99% they give you the risk weights, but these highlighted ones, they are most common. They don't give you these ones. They expect you to remember this. Then, so have you understood this example? Sure. Now coming to haircuts.
So once more, can you show the highlighted portion?
You know, पहले इसको फटाफट करो. Do it fast. Then the second chart of LTV to risk weights. Just take a screenshot, ma'am.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर।
हाँ जी।
सर ये जो एलटीवी रेशियो है ये मतलब दी जाएगी एग्जाम में?
नहीं मैम, ये याद करना चार्ट।
नहीं, जैसे मतलब कि लोन इतने का लोन है, उसकी एलटीवी रेशियो इतनी है, वो हमें निकालनी पड़ेगी।
मैम आपको ये वाला चार्ट, यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर दिस चार्ट, ये चार्ट याद रखना है।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू।
श्योर। 3 marks आ जाएंगे। You will earn 2 to 3 marks easily if you remember this chart. Now, before I start with haircuts, first let me do this thing, this portion. The claims included in regulatory retail portfolio. First of all, you have to understand how do we know that for a retail portfolio the risk weight is 75, okay, but the question is how do we make sure whether the loan that we have given is a retail loan or not. So there are 4 criteria, you have to remember these.
सर थोड़ा इसको हिंदी में बोल दीजिए, क्या बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
अजितेश जी, जब आप, हमें ये पता है कि एक रिटेल एडवांस को 75% रिस्क वेट देना है, लेकिन मुझे पता कैसे चलेगा कि ये एडवांस एक रिटेल एडवांस है या नहीं है?
ओके,
ठीक है। और उसके लिए प्रॉपर आरबीआई ने 4 क्राइटेरिया फिक्स किए हैं। फॉर अ क्लेम to be classified as a retail regulatory portfolio, 4 criteria should be met. Now, what are these 4 criteria? First is orientation exposure criteria. वो कहते हैं this exposure should be to a individual person or persons or to a small business. This fund-based or non-fund-based exposure should be to a person or persons or small business. Now, what do you mean by a small business? ये question पूछता है इसमें in this orientation criteria. Small business is one where the total average annual turnover is less than 50 crores, average of last 3 years. This is the first criteria. Second criteria is a product. The product has to be either it can be a CCOD or it can be a term loan lease or it can be a student or education loan or any small business facility or commitments. Then granularity, very important. Granularity criteria वो कहता है कि bank has to ensure that the regulatory retail portfolio is sufficiently diversified. How is it diversified? No aggregate exposure to one counterparty should be more than 0.2% of the overall retail portfolio. That means if you have decided that you will give 100 rupees loans in retail portfolio to retail customers, to one customer you cannot give more than 20 paisa. So 20 paisa is 0.2% of 100 rupees. Is that clear or not?
Yes,
अगर 100 रुपए बांटने हैं तो एक व्यक्ति को 20 पैसे से ज्यादा नहीं देना। क्या बोल रहे हो सर? Next, last is low value of individual exposures. Now this has been changed. This is now make this as 7.5 crores. Maximum aggregate retail exposure to one counterparty cannot exceed 7.5 crores. So any asset which satisfies all these 4 criteria will be termed as retail advance or regulatory retail, and the risk weight will be 75%. Is that clear? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next. Under the simplified standardized approach, abhi haircut pending hai, rest entire step. This approach is over. Just one portion haircut is left. I'll do it in 5 minutes. Now this is the summary of simplified standardized approach. Under the simplified standardized approach for credit risk, few silent points. For sovereign risk ratings, sovereign exposure ratings, that is country risk, we will use the ratings of ECGC. What is the name? 7 category classification by ECGC. Then risk weight for corporates is flat 100% since ratings are not used. Reduced risk weights of 75% is for retail and 35% for housing portfolios. बेसिकली इधर ऐड कर लीजिए 35 and 50, 35% and 50% for housing portfolios. If you remember this thing, ये देखो, if you remember this LTV chart, ये वाला chart, see on the screen. Fine. This is somewhere we have taken 35%, somewhere we have taken 50%. And then in off-balance sheet items, we will multiply them with credit conversion factor, then we will multiply with the risk weight. Now let us understand what is the concept of haircut. So let us suppose you have given a loan of rupees 1 crore. ठीक है? Against this, you have taken a collateral. Don't write anything. Collateral, which is in form of a mortgage. And the value of this mortgage house is also rupees 1 crore. So what is your net exposure? You will say that we have given 1 crore as loan, against which I have a collateral of 1 crore. So my net exposure is 0. This is not correct. RBI says, let us suppose the haircut on collateral is 20%. इसका मतलब ये हो गया that RBI says that देखो, in this particular kind of a asset, you will not be able to sell it at full value. So take a haircut of 20%. This means value of collateral after adjusting for haircut is 1 crore minus 20% of 1 crore. That is equals to 80 lakh. Is that clear? Is it clear or not? So what is your net exposure now? Your net exposure is your loan minus your collateral. 1 crore minus 80 lakh. Your net exposure is 20 lakh. Is that understood? Have you understood this thing? Pakka. But suppose,
Yes, sir.
suppose your collateral, instead of mortgage, it is National Saving Certificate. Suppose RBI says on National Saving Certificate there is no haircut. Haircut is 0%. That means if you have whatever value you have in a National Saving Certificate, you can get the full value. अगर आपके पास 1 करोड़ का NSC है तो 1 करोड़ मिल जाएगा आपको, लेकिन प्रॉपर्टी बेचते हुए हो सकता है 1 करोड़ ना मिले. So in this case, value of collateral after adjusting the haircut will be 1 crore only? Yes or no? So in this case, the exposure will be 0. समझ में आया कि नहीं? Did you understand the concept of haircut?
Sir.
Okay.
NSC का दोबारा बता दीजिए
सर। एनएससी में आरबीआई कहता है हेयर कट 0 है, हेयर कट लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर आप, अच्छा इधर सुनो सर, बात सुनो, आपका नाम बताओ सर। सर नाम बताइए।
मेरा सर।
हाँ जी, हाँ आपका नाम सर।
रघुवीर सिंह।
रघुवीर जी, आपने एक घर खरीदा, आपने किसी को 1 करोड़ का लोन दिया, उसके अगेंस्ट उससे सिक्योरिटी में 1 करोड़ का उसका घर अपने नाम करवा दिया। अगर वो डिफॉल्ट हो गया, आप उसका घर बेचोगे 1 करोड़ का, तो 1 करोड़ मिल जाएगा आपको? हो सकता है ना मिले। जो वैल्यू आप 1 करोड़ का घर मान के चल रहे हो, आरबीआई कहता है अगर बेचोगे ना तो 80 लाख ही मिलेगा, 1 करोड़ मिलना नहीं आपको। प्रॉपर्टी कभी पूरी वैल्यू देके नहीं जाती है। समझ आ रहा है रघुवीर जी?
सर ये 20% मॉर्गेज की
सर मैंने सपोज किया है, ये सपोज किया है मैंने एक एग्जांपल ली है।
ओके ओके ओके।
लेकिन एनएससी, अगर आपने 1 करोड़ की नेशनल सेविंग सर्टिफिकेट लिए हैं, तो उन्हें जब आप कैश में कन्वर्ट करोगे तो पूरा 1 करोड़ मिल जाएगा आपको, कम नहीं मिलेगा। समझ आ रहा है रघुवीर जी?
यस सर।
एफडीआर के केस में भी सर पूरा मिल जाएगा।
हाँ पूरा मिल जाएगा। नाउ haircut, this page very important, you can get a theory question from here. पहले इसको सुनते हैं, उसके बाद you can note it down or take a screenshot. First let us understand it. Thank you. हो गया 10 मिनट में ब्रेक करेंगे। हाँ जी। He says banks have 2 ways of calculating haircuts. He can ask you this question. What are the ways with which bank can calculate haircut? First is standard supervisory haircuts. Here we are using the method which is given by Basel Committee. Second, bank estimates their own haircuts by using their own internal estimates. In India, we use standard supervisory haircuts, which are allowed by Basel. For both exposure also and collateral also. Collateral का तो आपको समझ आ गया. But what do you mean by the exposure? What do you mean by haircut of exposure?
फंड बेस एंड नॉन फंड बेस।
सपोज करो, लेट मी सी, मेरे को एक एग्जांपल मिल जाए।
जो सेटलमेंट में वेव ऑफ करते हैं सिर्फ वो।
सपोज करो, हाँ जी क्या कह रहे हो?
जो सेटलमेंट में जो अमाउंट हम रिबेट करते हैं, डिस्काउंट करते हैं, वो एक्सपोजर करके।
Are you sure?
यस सर। जो कस्टमर से ओटीएस ने वन टाइम सेटलमेंट
काइंड ऑफ ठीक है, आपकी बात काइंड ऑफ ठीक है। हाँ बिल्कुल ठीक है। इसके 2 एग्जांपल्स हो सकते हैं। One example is a haircut on exposure ka when you are dealing with derivatives. So whatever is your exposed value, you might encounter a risk value which is higher than that. आपको उससे ज्यादा की पेमेंट्स करनी पड़ सकती है। This is one example. Second example is जो आपने बोला ना सर,
NCLT sir.
हाँ जी,
when the cases are going to NCLT and there is a bid process there, and if the bidding is below the expected amount and which is the difference, that is also called the haircut.
आप ना सर इसको इस तरह से याद रखना, बस एक चीज, दैट हेयर कट, ये क्वेश्चन आता है, whatever is the haircut on exposure that is added, whereas whatever is the haircut on collateral that is subtracted. If you see this example where the collateral was 1 crore mortgage value and haircut was 20%, so I subtracted it. ये देखा मैंने collateral की वैल्यू, देखो इधर देखो, simple logic. If there is a haircut on exposure, so that value will be added into exposure and exposure will become more. And if there is a haircut on collateral, that will be reduced from the collateral and the value of collateral will go down. So इसकी ना एक easy simple explanation Google से देखते हैं, शायद अच्छी मिल जाए कोई, एक मिनट रुको. Why is haircut on exposure added? कोलैटरल का ही दिया है इसने ना, एक्सपोजर का दिया नहीं है. ये कोलैटरल का है. इसको छोड़ो सर, आप ना जितना मैं करवा रहा हूं उतना याद कर रख लो, ठीक है. लेट अस नॉट गेट इनटू टू मच डिटेल. तो जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस थिंग. फर्स्ट लेट अस रीड इट. एक तो यू विल रिमेंबर देयर आर टू वेज टू कैलकुलेट हेयर कट्स. वन इज स्टैंडर्ड सुपरवाइजरी, वन इज वी एस्टिमेट अवर ओन. In India, we use only standard supervisory haircut for both exposure as well as collateral. आपके ना मैकमिलन की बुक में haircut on exposures का भी टेबल दिया हुआ है. They have given a table on haircut of exposures also. They have given a table on haircut of collateral also. So अगर किसी के पास है, आप देख के मुझे बता दो. Give me 1 or 2 examples of exposure. ठीक है. Now first let us see. He says sovereign means RBI, DICGC, CGTMSE, or any exposure to a sovereign. He says risk weight is 0. एक तो ये पॉइंट आप याद रखोगे. Second, banks will apply a 0 haircut for eligible collateral where it is national savings certificate, किसान विकास पत्र, or surrender value of insurance policies or bank's own deposit. That means loan against FDR, loan against LIC policy, loan against Kisan Vikas Patra, loan against National Savings Certificate. The haircut on collateral will be 0. Then the standard supervisory haircut for currency risk, where exposure and collateral are in different currencies, is 8%. This is very important. Suppose you have given a loan in US dollar, but the collateral is in euros. Now the currencies are different of exposure and collateral. So in this case, you take a haircut for foreign currency mismatch. This is very important. This is 8%. And transactions where bank's exposure is unrated, or bank is lending to non-eligible instruments like non-investment grade securities. What were our non-investment grade securities? Ye dekho. Suppose a bank has invested 100 rupees in a bond of a company whose rating is BB or B or CCC or D. So these are all non-investment grade securities. These are very, very risky. So here RBI tells you to add a haircut on exposure. Okay, so on these exposures, RBI says apply a 25% haircut. That means if you are investing 100, if you are buying a bond worth 100 rupees of a lower rating like BB and below, if you are buying a bond for 100 rupees, you will take the value of exposure to 25% add. That means 125. समझ आया सर के नहीं? Did you understand this? This is a very good example of haircut on exposure. Is that clear? सर अगर आपने 100 रुपए इन्वेस्ट किए हैं इन अ नॉन इन्वेस्टमेंट ग्रेड सिक्योरिटी, नॉन इन्वेस्टमेंट ग्रेड सिक्योरिटी कौन सी होती है? कोई भी बॉन्ड जिसकी रेटिंग BB या उससे कम की है, BB हो सकती है, B हो सकती है, CCC हो सकती है, C हो सकती है, D हो सकती है. ये सब घटिया क्वालिटी के बॉन्ड है. जब भी आप 100 रुपया इन घटिया क्वालिटी के बॉन्ड्स में इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो आरबीआई कहता है एक्सपोजर के ऊपर 25% का हेयर कट लेना है. यानी कि 100 रुपए अगर लगाए हैं तो आरबीआई कहता है आप मान के चलो कि आपने 100 नहीं 125 लगाए हैं.
सर इसके ऊपर वाला भी, सर ये तो समझ गया सर, ये ऊपर वाला भी वैसे बता दीजिए. द स्टैंडर्ड सुपरवाइजरी हेयर कट फॉर करेंसी रिस्क एक्सपोजर एंड कोलेटरल आर डिनोमिनेटेड इन.
मैं अभी बताता हूं सर, अभी बताता हूं, 2 मिनट रुकिए. Each and every word on this page you will remember. Take a screenshot. ये एक एक वर्ड याद होना चाहिए आपको.
सर ये नोटबुक में दिया हुआ है.
हाँ जी,
नोटबुक में ये है या फिर नोट कर लो इसे?
नहीं, इसको नोट कर लो, इस फोटो खींच लो इसकी. ये है नहीं, आपकी किट में नहीं है ये.
सर इसका अगले का फार्मूला दिखा दोगे? नेट फंड एक्सपोजर का एक फार्मूला बताया था आपने.
सेकंड लास्ट वाला पॉइंट कर दोगे, 8% वाला.
क्या कह रहे हो?
ये जो सेकंड लास्ट वाला जो स्टैंडर्ड सुपरवाइजरी हेयर कट फॉर करेंसी रिस्क वेयर, ये डिफरेंट करेंसीज का 8% जो रखना है हेयर कट.
सर ये सिंपल सा याद रख लो, मान लो आपने लोन दिए डॉलर में, लेकिन अब इधर सुनो, चलो एक आपको एग्जांपल देता हूं। सपोज करो मैं कनाडा में रहता हूं, ठीक है। मैंने यहां पे घर खरीदना है, उसके लिए मुझे लोन चाहिए $5 लाख का। मेरी बात सुनिए अब ध्यान से, आपको रियल एग्जांपल देता हूं।
ठीक है
Sir, communicating in English, please.
Ma'am, just wait for 2 minutes. Let me explain it to them in Hindi, then I'll repeat it for you for in English. चलो मैं सिंपल इंग्लिश यूज कर रहा हूँ यार, सारे समझ लो एक बार में।
कोई नहीं सर, कोई नहीं।
I live in Canada, okay? Yeah, I live in America. I want to buy a house and I need a loan of $5 lakh US. ठीक है? American bank says, Bhaiya, you don't have any credit history here, we will not give you any loan. You don't have any income here. Your business is in India. Now you have any credit history? Nothing. So I go to my bank, Punjab National Bank in India. I say, I need a loan in US dollar for $5 lakh. तो पीएनबी कहता है कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, वी विल गिव यू अ लोन ऑफ $5 lakh. But PNB says, what is the collateral you will give me? I say, for collateral, you take my land, which is in Punjab. The value of that land is, let us say, $5 lakh हो गया, roughly आपका 4 crore. तो मैं कहता हूं value of this land is 4 crores. Now the problem is that the loan is giving, PNB is giving the loan to me in US dollar, but the collateral is in Indian rupees.
Yes sir.
समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा?
हाँ जी सर।
तो इसके लिए भी एक हेयर कट लेना पड़ेगा 8% का।
ठीक है सर।
Because the collateral is in a different currency.
Yes sir.
So for every 100 rupee collateral, you will take the value at 92 rupees. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Have a break for 5 minutes.
Yes sir.
उसके बाद we will finish it off. ठीक है? समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा?
Recording stopped.
Yes, sir.
5 minutes break, please. So we will start at 9:15 now. Okay, 8 minutes break.